Wir haben doch erst 46 Folgen auf der Uhr, oder?
If they try to get in our way, we'll take them down and that'll be that. Ow! I'm on!
Into the shadow!
Swallow down! Not so fast!
You're mine!
Sword Rain Alpha!
Glacial, this one's not!
Stardust! Here I
Freeze
come!
Lancer!
No further! Stardust! Stardust!
I can handle it! Lunar Corruption!
Sword Rain Alpha!
Lunar Blast!
You're mine!
Do it!
Ich muss mich noch ein wenig
This ends now!
an Dorleens Abilities gewöhnen.
Barely a blip on our radar.
Ich habe das Gefühl, dass wir schwer unterlevelt sind, tatsächlich. Gefällt mir tatsächlich nicht so.
Let's dispose of the trash.
Resonate with the
On
keeping interrupting us!
That's what my shield's for.
I shall ensure you survive this. Got it! I'll leave it to you! Here I come! Now I'm in the groove!
Hear my call! Spread! Glacial Spear! Pierce Diva!
Here I come!
Freeze Lancer!
Sword Rain Alpha! I'm not done! Do it! Chill!
This ends
Ach verdammt, ich wollte die Dorleen-Kombos austesten.
My lady?
Something you wanted to say? Do it!
Totally! In an instant! Impact Block!
Let's keep our eyes on the prize.
Na, guck mal. Neue Pflanze hier. Roter Jasmin. Ah, da oben.
Maybe something's going on in the forest.
Du mit deinen scheiß Eulen, ne? Lore hat seine scheiß Bauernhoftiere, du hast deine scheiß Eulen. Ihr seid mir echt zu anstrengend geworden. Gut, dass ich euch hier rein theoretisch jetzt beide komplett ersetzen kann. Nur bei Lore bin ich mir halt noch unsicher, ob ich den rausschmeißen will
It'll be a
für...
breeze. Get in, get out. Frickin' does it. Now you see what I can do. Elusive deity.
Lunar Corruption!
Try harder. Not a chance. I'm on a roll now.
I'll stop its charge! Thanks, Kisara!
I'm in your debt, Bohu. And tonight's meal is on you. You got it.
Demon Fang. Elusive deity. All mine. Dragon Shell. Ruin escape.
Magna Ray! Do it!
Hey. Blow them away.
Ah, nice Kombos.
You managed to keep up.
Don't patronize me.
A fish! You saw it too, right?
Oh, jetzt können wir endlich angeln, ja?
I didn't realize there was a pond here.
Yeah, this is Taka Pond. And it happened to have saved my life once upon a time.
What do you mean?
As a kid, I survived life under the past lords by escaping here when I needed to. It's terrible to swim in, but great for catching a bite for dinner away from Renin eyes. Bear in mind, our rations back then weren't enough to live off of. You had to take matters into your own hands if you wanted enough food to survive.
But how did you catch them? With your bare hands?
That might take a while. Fish are prone to swim away at the first sign of trouble. I'd put bait or a lure on a line and use it with a fishing rod. You must not be familiar with fishing if this sounds new to you. Here, let me show you how it's done.
Angelspiel. In ganz Dana liegen Angelstellen verstreut, die verschiedene Fischarten bieten. Nutze deinen Fang zum Kochen, verkaufe ihn für Guide, schalte sogar neue Titel damit frei. Also pack die Angel aus, wenn du neue Angelstellen findest. Das Angeln besteht aus 4 Schritten. Leine auswerfen, Fisch anlocken, Fisch anbeißen lassen und die Fische schließlich einholen.
Now where might those fish be?
Ich will ja nichts sagen, aber es ist genau die Steuerung aus Final Fantasy.
There we go. Good fishers always keep their cool.
Ich hab's tatsächlich nicht ganz verstanden.
Reel it in. Good fishers always keep their cool.
Ach Gott, das war die falsche Schütteltaste. Ich hasse es.
Reel it in. That was disappointing.
Warte mal, ich habe keine Ahnung, was ich hier tue.
I've got something.
Ey, die haben die Angelsteuerung aus Final Fantasy geklaut. Genauso oder ähnlich funktioniert jetzt in Final Fantasy
You take
15.
your fishing pretty seriously.
Verrückt, ja, die haben's echt geklaut.
And that's all there is to it.
Wow. It seems like you need to have good reflexes to catch anything. I don't know if it's really for me.
Oh, sorry. I guess I'm just in my own little world when I go fishing.
Ist der vergeben, aber süß.
Looks like we're going to be here for a while.
That's how fishing goes. You wait for a bite, and then the real battle begins. Miguel told me that different fish live in different regions, and you have to pick the right rod and lure for what you're hoping to catch.
But that doesn't change the fact it's a giant time sink.
Of course, each fish has its own unique flavor, too. And some of them are supposed to be extremely delicious.
Damit hast
When
du
you put it like that, maybe it's worth me trying my hand at fishing after all.
You're just in it for the food.
I was hoping we'd get to fish during our travels. And it just so happens I made sure to grab my brother's old rod before I left Vicente. So, if you ever feel like fishing when we've got a little downtime, just let me know.
Good to hear. Thanks for showing us.
Okay!
I'm always amazed with...
Nice. Schade. Das war nix.
healing arts can do.
Just doing my job. No need.
Was ist Rinmel? Ist das ein Bug?
Hey. Is it just me? Or have those two barely spoken a single word to one another?
I know, right? But after everything that happened with Miguel, is it really any wonder?
Kinda puts a damper on the whole journey though, huh? How long do you think they're gonna keep this up?
If it bothers you that much, why don't you ask them?
Why do I have to ask?
How come you walk together like that?
She really doesn't beat around the bush.
You mean Kisara and myself?
You hadn't noticed? You've been practically joined at the hip ever since we left Vicente.
I guess it's force of habit, most likely. I was always ready to protect him, should the need arise. It sort of came with the job description.
Ich glaube,
Right.
daran liegt's nicht.
From being in the Elder Menancia Guard. Although, Dohalim's pretty capable of defending himself, isn't he?
Having guards doesn't necessarily mean the one being guarded is weak. No one's perfect all the time.
Even so, it's not like they're entirely wrong, Kisara. You're no longer in my employ, after all.
I don't know. I mean, if it's what she's used to and you're both comfortable with it, then who are we to judge?
But she doesn't serve him anymore. It isn't normal for her to keep following him around like she still does.
Brinwell
You
hat
know,
die
she's
Schnauze.
probably right. And a lot has changed over the last few days. I guess it wouldn't hurt to rethink our relationship in light of the new circumstances. Perhaps I'll give it some thought after all. Does that sound all right by you?
Of course.
You might want to stop asking his permission for every little thing while you're at it.
Sorry. It's not that easy, shaking off old habits. I'll probably need a little time to get fully used to it.
Was, die
I've noticed
Blumenbahn?
that sometimes we come across enemies who fight like you, and try to dodge our attacks at the last second.
I hate those guys. I can get some hits in when they move into attack, but otherwise they slip past damn near everything else I throw at them.
If what you're seeking is a way to more reliably hit them, there is a solution.
Try to outclass them on reflexes?
I possess the ability to command Earth elemental beings to some extent. They emerge as the land itself and take root on my command. They will swiftly bind the enemies, at which point you can dispatch them.
Huh?
What he means is that he can make plants grow to hold the enemies in place. At least
Das hat
I
sehr
think
geholfen
that's
gegen Kirito
probably what he's
tatsächlich.
saying.
I'm glad at least one of us understands him. So basically, if we find an enemy that likes to dodge, we should let Dohalim handle it.
I shall do what I can within my modest means to help.
Dohalim's fighting style is... what's the word I'm looking for? Subdued? No...
Do you mean elegant, perhaps?
Yeah, that's the word. For better or worse, you can definitely tell he's cut from posh rending cloth.
And he's not just skilled with the staff either. He can also use astral arts, including healing ones. I can see how he made it to the position of a lord.
You flatter me, but my fighting techniques merely come from a style that aims to conserve energy by minimizing body movement.
Is that why you wait until the last second before you dodge attacks? To avoid unnecessary movements?
No, I do that to sharpen my senses. I find that doing so is an effective means of drawing out my innermost strength.
Oh yeah, I've noticed you look stronger and strike out with your rod more after you dodge attacks. Guess that's why.
Still, it's a risk. Don't you ever worry you'll dodge at the wrong moment?
Then, it'll be just as well.
Huh?
It's nothing. Let us continue.
Okay, wir hatten Charakterentwicklung zwischen Dohalim und Kisara haben. Wir haben noch die Geschichte zwischen Alphen
Why
und
are you
Shion.
looking at me like that?
That armor you wear is standard issue for the Menancian Guard, right?
Originally, I've added some flair to it in a lot of places.
I noticed, especially with that open back.
We guardsmen pride ourselves on never showing our back to our enemies. It's my way of making myself live up to that. Plus, it makes it that much lighter and easier to maintain.
Dohalim, do you have anything to say about this?
Every guardsman is allowed to wear their armor as they see fit.
And you, La?
Huh? Why are you asking me?
Thanks for waiting. Eat as much as you like.
Boah, die ist schon niedlich. Schön mit Dueling sprechen.
Care if I hang out for a while? You worried about what's going on with Menencia?
What makes you think that?
Well, you were speaking to Kisara earlier, weren't you?
It's rude to listen in on others, you know.
Sorry. I didn't hear what you two were actually talking about, though. I just figured it was Menencia since it was the two of you.
I am but a former lord who has abandoned his post. I'm no longer in a position to lead the realm in any capacity whatsoever. Yet Kisara still seeks out my opinions, knowing full well that is the case. This despite the fact I am no longer her master either.
Couldn't it be precisely because you're not her master anymore? It's natural for friends to want to hear each other's opinions.
I hadn't considered that possibility.
It's funny what you miss sometimes.
Hardly uncommon among artistic types such as myself. When lordships are decided based solely on one's astral energy, it can lead to funny results.
But even so, you still took your job as lord seriously, didn't you?
Certainly. I learned to perform my functions. However, I was less interested in ruling, so much as avoiding life and death decisions. Of course, such a mentality in the end led only to sickening pain and death taking place elsewhere out of sight. I pretended not to see or hear any of it, content to let our supposed peace and
War doch
equality
okay.
keep me blind and deaf to reality.
Wirklich Dueling, das war jetzt nicht
I
ganz so
was a
schlimm.
fool.
But you're making amends.
I would like to think so. The path ahead is dark, yet I still walk on. I merely pray that I shan't fall down any holes along the way. Do you mind watching our camp tonight? Shall we get moving?
Oh, nett. Ja, wo ist dieser Brecher? Wir sind eigentlich gut genug ausgerüstet, also sollte jetzt...
I always love the sound of hammers banging away.
Ah, verdammt. Egal, gebe ich euch einen kleinen Blick auf die...
Something feels odd here. Be on your guard.
I just noticed none of you other Danans have spirit cores. Why is that?
Both of my parents were part of the resistance in Calaglia. In fact, my birth was kept a secret from the Renans.
Mine too. We always lived in hiding, so I never had a spirit core embedded in me like I was supposed to.
What about you, Alphen? You were a slave in Calaglia before all this, weren't you?
To be completely honest, I'm not sure why I don't have one. All the other Danan slaves around me did. I was the only exception. They tended to keep their distance from me to avoid attracting any attention from the soldiers, because of my mask and all. What about you, Kisara? Do you still have your spirit core?
No. I was able to find a good Renin doctor who's sympathetic to our kind, and had them remove it before I left. They did such a great job, the procedure didn't even leave a scar.
One of the benefits of coexistence, huh?
I know that once the spirit vessel was shut down, there wasn't much need for me to hurry. But still, I didn't like having that mark of servitude lingering on me any longer than I had to. It may sound a little strange to hear me say this, but I'm just me now. Not a guardsman or a slave. I'm my own woman. And this is my chance to have a new beginning.
This sure is one rugged road. You'd think they'd keep this at least a little better maintained, right?
Why spend energy fixing that which is rarely used? Repairs require time and effort, which in our world means slaves, often in great numbers. For you, it may be a simple request, but that can quickly become another's difficult burden. Nobody gains anything without someone expending effort.
And you know, somehow that someone always ends up being a Danon, while the Renins are the ones who gain.
True enough. Ideally, in a perfect world, I think it's only fair that the ones who need it should be the ones to perform the work.
However, when doing so could be dangerous like it is here, there are many who would prefer that it be others who risk their lives in their stead.
So, what you're saying is that people will just put up with the inconvenience until someone else comes along to fix it for them?
Indeed. And it is those who can no longer bear that feeling that inevitably take action. Much like the Danons in our group do so now. As strange as it may be to hear such a thing from the likes of myself.
It's true that most of the Danons in Calaglia have been resigned to just accepting things as they are. Still, we can't just blame them for...
What are you making that face for? You're not worn out already, are you?
Die mäkelt die ganze Zeit an
Regretting I ever said
Lauren.
anything in the first place.
Okay, ich will das Riesen... Ich hab gehofft, das wären mehrere riesige Flügelviecher.
Brace yourselves! This one's tough!
Where are you going?
Swallow dance! Not today!
Airborne beast. Mind your step.
Thank you for the everlasting
Glacial spear.
In a bind!
Here's the eagle.
Got flyers!
I've got it. Let a marksman handle it.
All yours! I shall ensure you survive this! Elusive deity! I'm ready!
Mich interessiert wirklich, wie der Boost aussieht zwischen Skiern und Dorling.
Blow them away!
Searing flame.
First strike! I'm ready!
Get toasty.
Bird strike!
My exploits are bearing fruit.
Naja, aber ich denke, das Ganze ist etwas für die nächste Aufnahmesession, beziehungsweise für die nächste Folge. Die Folgen sollten jetzt vorerst reichen für die Woche, wo ich nicht da bin. Aber ich denke mal, weil es mich doch entscheiden sollte, nicht noch vor meinem Urlaub aufzunehmen, dann ist das eine ganz dezente Aufnahmesession. Dann kann ich ganz gut damit leben, dass ich dann noch für den Montag was habe. Also da habe ich noch frei, da kann ich auch theoretisch aufnehmen, wenn ich ja gut aus dem Bett rauskomme. Aber ich denke mal, ich werde trotzdem noch die Woche aufnehmen, wenn ich dann die nötige Zeit noch dafür finde. Gut. Ich würde sagen, ansonsten danke, dass ihr zugeschaut habt. Ich hoffe, ihr hattet Spaß mit allen Folgen aus dieser Aufnahmesession. Ich war teilweise ein bisschen ruhiger, war so an ein paar Stellen war so ein bisschen Luft raus. Was mich so wieder ein bisschen reingeholt hat, war einfach der Kampf letztendlich zwischen Kirito und gegen Kirito und Asuna. Aber naja. Gut. Ich bedanke mich recht herzlich fürs Zusehen. Wir speichern mal wie immer wieder die zusammen. Besser ist. Ja, legen wir sicherheitshalber noch einen zweiten zweites Ding an. Ich würde sagen, damit beenden wir die Session. Ich hoffe, ihr hattet eine gute Zeit und ja, habt noch einen wunderschönen guten Tag oder einen schönen Abend, wann auch immer ihr die Folgen guckt. Tschüss!